Scouting Report, Philippine Sports in 2026. We asked 5 sports industry professionals what they think is going to trend in 2026. Another year in sports done and dusted with, and like with many before them, so much has happened. Time never stops moving forward, and trends in the game simply come and go, thanks to ever-evolving innovations and shifts. As we game plan for a new year, we thought it would be interesting to find out what people on the inside, or the nearest orbit, of the sports industry are preparing for. Considering they work closely around the game, their gut may be better than us spectators, and it wouldn't be surprising if some, if not most, of these 2026 predictions came true. Here's what we learned: more AI-powered sports analytics, what I think will become a trend or even an integral part of the games, any game. Moving forward will be more analytics and AI power to bring how sports is played and planned to the next level. More and more teams, coaches, and leagues will rely on data-driven analysis and strategizing. AI may even accurately evaluate team or athlete performance. It can catch fouls, flops, and other debatable movements better. I just wish it can also help improve officiating across all sports. In essence, I think AI will become a member of the coaching staff and also aid referee decision-making. I don't know exactly how AI will do those things, but it will. Tessa Jasmines, veteran sports writer and columnist, journalism professor and PR practitioner. Women's and non-Western boxing and MMA gaining more serious weight. There's evidence that female participation and viewership in boxing have been rising, pushing women's fights into the spotlight more often. As audiences diversify, expect more demand for women-led cards, equal promotion, and coverage that treats female fighters as main event-worthy athletes rather than side shows. As audiences diversify, expect more demand for women-led cards, equal promotion, and coverage that treats female fighters as main event-worthy athletes rather than side shows. MMA, and combat sports in general, are increasingly accessible via streaming and digital platforms across Asia, which helps build new fanbases beyond traditional broadcast audiences. Mixed martial arts popularity continues expanding globally, with new gyms and rising interest in Asia and other regions. The global MMA equipment market is forecast to grow significantly, reflecting more people actually training. That globalization could lead to more non-Western stars getting the spotlight, more international events, and a more diverse fan base, all of which would make for richer coverage angles. That means coverage won't just be about who won, but also context, why this matchup matters, how it fits broader marketing or cultural themes, and how fighters brand themselves. Nissi Acasiano, combat sports analyst, sports writer, and editor. More brand and advertising attention for women's sports. I believe 2026 is the year we see more merch for our women's sports teams. Most schools only sell the jerseys of the men's basketball team, but I think we will start to see women's basketball jerseys too. They could make ones for current stars like Casey Della Rosa, as well as retro jerseys for the greats like Jack Animum and Afro Bernardino. Take my money, I also think 2026 will be the year more brands will enter our women's sports scene. There's data that shows women athletes are effective endorsers, and the high from the SEA Games this December will open doors for more endorsements. I also think we'll see clever brands that tap into niche sports and underrated athletes because they know it's not just about who's popular, it's who represents your brand well to your target audience. This will be the year for funding to flow. Siege Tantenko Malolos, sports journalist, podcaster, and founder of Go Hard Girls, the crest of Philippine pickleball's wave. I first heard of pickleball years before the pandemic through Survivor, legend Tyson Apostle's podcast appearances. He'd been an ambassador for the sport as early as then, and ever since, I've been wanting to give the sport a try. The moment it finally hit the Philippines, I've been keeping tabs on its rise to popularity locally, with more and more pickleball courts opening in malls all over the country. And I think next year is a make-or-break year for pickleball's popularity in the Philippines. We've seen recently the backlash against the barrier for entry for pickleball, and if its gatekeepers, rightfully appointed or otherwise, don't do something about it, they risk pickleball's perception being limited to that of a pangmayaman sport like golf. Stan Tsai, WWE and PBA broadcaster. More Pacquiao fights. My prediction for 2026 is that we will see another non-exhibition fight against a marquee name for Manny Pacquiao. After drawing with Mario Barrios back in July in his attempt to win the WBC welterweight championship, it's clear that Manny can still go. Even at 46, some of his old speed and power is still there. In the current boxing environment, the biggest draws do not necessarily have alphabet titles at stake. Jake Paul does great business with Netflix even if he's unranked, as long as a big name is opposite his. So I think Pacquiao will figure this out and avoid the allure of recapturing a world championship for a bigger payday. It probably won't be Floyd Mayweather, as he's too obsessed with his undefeated record to risk it, but someone else, maybe someone who he has fought before. Carlo Pamantuan, WWE and Sports 5 broadcaster and sportswriter bonus. Alex Ila will only go up from here, and will drive more tennis events locally. Alex Ila is already driving the hype train for tennis in the Philippines, and she's not even clocking in some major victories yet. She's already inspired people to take up racket sports, whether it's tennis itself or the aforementioned pickleball, or even old standbys like badminton. That craze will stay for as long as she's ranked relatively high, and with the announcement of the WTA 125 coming to the Philippines in a couple of months, it's only going to be the first of many international tennis events happening on local soil. It will and should create demand for the construction of more world-class tennis infrastructure here, too. At Stadium Scouting Report, Philippine Sports in 2026, a nation in motion by a sports strategist tracking the rise of Philippine athletics in 2026, Philippine sports is not merely surviving, it's evolving. If the early 2020s were years of awakening, then 2026 marks the moment when Filipino athletics truly stakes its claim on the global stage. What once was defined by scattered individual triumphs and patchy development programs is beginning to take shape as a cohesive, ambitious, and future-oriented ecosystem. From grassroots celebration to international marquee events, the Philippines is writing a new playbook for sports. This scouting report takes you through the key landscapes, the arenas, the athletes, the emerging sports, and the underlying dynamics shaping 2026. Trophy 1. Tournament hosting. The Philippines as an emerging host nation. One of the most striking developments this year is how the Philippines is transforming into a destination for international sporting events, signaling confidence in infrastructure, logistic capability, and global appeal. Man-biking Asian Track Cycling Championships in March. The country will host the 2026 Asian Track Cycling Championships at the newly inaugurated UCI Standard Velodrome in Tagaytay City, its first such facility. This marks a historic pivot toward high-performance cycling and volleyball competition.